For more recipes, conversations, and DIYs for kids, hit the bell icon to never miss a video from Kidsstoppress.com. Hello everyone, welcome to Kidsstoppress.com. Today we're really excited because we have with us Dr. Preeti Devanani, who's the clinical director at Sleep Disorder Clinic in Mumbai, and she's a specialist in sleep medicine. Dr. Preeti, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, parenting is almost called as a sleep-deprived phase of an individual's life, right? So we have a lot of questions coming up for you. The first one to begin with is ideal sleep hours by age.
So I think that's really relevant because as age and lifespan, progresses, the age sleep requirements do vary, and a newborn, for instance, when the brain is maturing, needs a longer period, about 17 to 18 hours of sleep. Yet the sleep cycle is shorter, so the newborn tends to awaken every 2 hours, and also a lot of proponents of feed by demand make so that the mom also, tends to wake up at that hour. As the child grows around the school age between 8 and 10 years old, they need 9.5 to 10 hours of sleep, and a young adult will need about 7.25 hours of sleep. Yet there's no magic number. It's almost the sleep that makes you feel refreshed. But we've got to take that into account that a young adult, our children need a lot more sleep than is really getting out there.
Right. You also mentioned that, given the number of hours that we need, what would you recommend, for ideal sleep for children, like processes or putting them to bed early or time span?
Sure, I think the first thing we really need to do is keep consistency.
Right.
Yeah, because parents, and I being one as well, we tend to vary our rules depending on our schedules and our conveniences. So the child needs to have a routine,
right,
and which shouldn't be, hampered with at school days and weekends as well. So we've got to stay strict, stay disciplined, and emulate a good role model because children are watching you.
Absolutely.
So that's all important into getting a good night's rest for the child.
Right. Sleep disorders that you've experienced in a lot of new age children?
Definitely pediatric sleep medicine is very challenging. We do see a host of sleep disturbances that are unique to the childhood phase. Being the restless sleep or difficulty with sleep. We have particular behavioral insomnias where which may actually lead with the interaction of the caregiver. So their limit setting where the child is trying to act out, or in a sleep onset association where the child gets attached to a particular toy or a blanket without which they can't sleep, or even something as simple as a rocking or a patting phenomena. So the mom is now not letting the child learn to sleep themselves, but rocking them to sleep, which is very comfortable doing at a time when she's awake, but doesn't want to repeat it at 2 or 4 a.m., right, when she's deep in her slumber. But the child then hasn't learned to sleep themselves, so we haven't taught them how they need to fall asleep. And that, I feel, is a sleep training that we need to, educate the parents about.
How to get your kids to sleep alone? We get that a lot of questions because parenting today, we're trying to ape a lot of the Western countries.
Right, and a lot of the time it isn't needed. I don't think we need to change our culture just because there are studies out from the West. I mean, there are a lot of co-cultural studies, of course, sleeping that are across this zone, and we see that about 85 to even up to 93% of parents co-sleep with their children, especially in the Southeast Asian countries, and there is no harm in it. In fact, we think that there is a bonding that tends to develop. What is harmful though is if it is impairing the parent's sleep, and at that point then we want to intervene. So a lot of co-sleeping can occur without it being a problem.
Right. Okay. So you are totally okay with co-sleeping, and you see a distinct reason, right? Your recommendation for sleep-deprived parents?
So that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, an average new parent will get sleep-deprived in the range of 400 to 800 hours in their first year. Okay, and that is a major health concern. I think the advice that we give them is one. Sleep when the child rests. Okay, you've got to take your naps and time them as well as you can. Enlist your family and friends for support, or your spouse as well. This is not the time to say I'm going to do it alone. If you have a caregiver who can step in while you get your rest, you need to. because and keep your nutrition healthy, exercise as much as you can as well. Bond with the baby, of course, but you do it in a way that's healthy. That's really important because if the mom isn't sleeping well, it's going to have an impact on her mood, her irritability. It's a precursor for depression and ill health for her.
Right.
So we have to work hard. It's a challenge, but it's got to be done.
Right.
Okay.
Also, for a message for all the millennials out there, you know, we have so many distractions.
Yeah.
How do we get our and there's like a whole movement out there, right, that Ariana Huffington started,
Right.
which is about, you know, get your 8 hours of sleep.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Sleep is not an option. I think that's what the message we need to drive home. Sleep is pivotal. It's crucial. It's going to be one of the pillars of your success in your career, in your personal life, in your professionalism. So you've got to make sure that you have enough time for it, because to put it simply, it's a restorative and rejuvenative process,
Right.
without which you can't exist. So you've got to give it the importance that it deserves.
Great. We've also got a question from a reader asking about night terrors and how common is that and how can it be cured?
So yes, it is fairly common in children. About 10 to 15% may have them at the time. I think when we see a child with night terrors, our first and foremost, our working algorithm is to ensure that that's precisely what it is and not a misdiagnosis of a more sinister problem that could be presenting, or a more complex etiology like a neurological condition like a seizure. So you want to make sure that you're dealing with a night terror, and then you have to really understand the child, the psychology, the relationship, the interaction with the parents, with the peers. Also make sure around the sleep routine what's occurring. Make sure the child is safe in the environment, and counsel the parents accordingly. So a lot of it is behavioral therapy that we then implement at that point.
Sure, great. Thank you so much for joining
you're
us
very
today,
welcome.
and thank you for your time.